Welcome back to the Best You Nation, where we believe in managing your drive, optimizing 24 hours in a day, and becoming the best version of you. That's right. And now, your global and Instagram influencers, and also your host, Finn and Adler. We hope that you enjoy this podcast today.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Best You Nation. Your boy Finn Adler and a spotlight guest, Richard Norton. We welcome you to the show, and we're super excited for you to be here. Since you are our spotlight guest, we do want to spotlight you a little bit and throw out some fun facts about who you are and just kind of get people to know who you are. So first of all, you are a regional sales manager at Retriever Merchant Solutions. You are a motivational speaker. You are a worship leader. And you are a fantastic example of what it is to be the best you. And most importantly, obviously, we're here, we're talking about passion today. You, like I said, you are a regional sales manager. And you also, with that being said, you are a successful entrepreneur. So we want to welcome you to the show. And we just want to take this time to let you take the floor, take the mic. I don't have an actual mic to drop, but to hand over it to you to kind of introduce who you are, and we're just so grateful to have you here with us today.
Fantastic. Hey, love your guys' show, and I appreciate you, both of you, having me on the show. And what an intro. How do I live up to that? So that's great. That's exciting. I'll give you a little background about myself. At the age of 18, I answered an ad in the paper many, many years ago, and it said, have fun, make money, travel. And I landed a position with P.F. Collier Incorporated. And the position that I had was selling encyclopedias door to door, all based on commission. And I was so excited about it. And I remember going home and telling family and friends about it. And you guys can relate to this when you're moving into something that is different from everybody else, you're going to get a lot of negative. And my family was, get a real job.
Yeah.
You're not going to make any money at that, and all my friends laughed at me. And when you think about things like that, you can go two ways. You can say, I'm going to listen to the naysayers and do what they say, or I'm going to say, I'm going to show them. And thankfully, my attitude was, I'll show them. And that summer, I was committed to it, and I finished in the top 3 college students in the entire nation. I won a trip to Portugal, all expenses paid, and that was my first trip. And believe it or not, I actually did that business for almost 20 years. And I recruited people and I trained people. We opened up offices. We traveled all around the country, all around the world. And what a great experience. And I was told that if you can sell encyclopedias door to door on commission, you can do anything.
That's cool.
Then as the 90s came in, technology came in, and of course, encyclopedias kind of, you don't hear too much about, and you started to see the writing on the wall, and I was hanging on by a thread, sticking to that business there. And finally, someone introduced me to the business that I'm in right now, which is credit card processing. And what I do is I took what I've learned in that industry and I brought it into this industry. And man, what a fantastic industry this is, because not only am I making money up front, but somebody told me, if you want to build wealth, if you want to get rich, find something that's going to pay you residual income. And praise God, that's what we have in this business. Now, it's not all about money. I mean, money's great. I've been broke and I have money and I like having money better. But it does make a difference because it gives you freedom. And I believe in my heart that we are blessed to be a blessing. So I'm very grateful. And it doesn't mean that when you're on the road to success, sometimes people look at people and they say, man, what a lucky person. Everything's paving gold in their life and everything's just absolutely wonderful. And that couldn't be farther from the truth, because we all go through obstacles. We all go through challenges. We all go through difficulties. Welcome to life. Right?
Yes.
That's part of life. But we can either surrender and give up, or we can say, I'm going for it. And I always say this to all of our salespeople, that I am the #1 failure in this company. I have failed the most out of anybody. And I'll do like a little quiz. I'm like, who is the biggest failure in this company? And they'll say, well, it's the guy that quit, or it's the guy that, didn't put his all into it. And I say, I'm here to tell you, I am the number one failure in this company. I am a disaster. I've gotten more no's than anybody in the history of the company. I've gotten more rejection than anybody ever. But here's the cool part about it. I am the number one success. I've gotten more yeses than anybody. So I say that if you're going to be successful, you have to embrace failure, love failure, because that is part of success. So it's great. So I love it. And I just love what you guys do. I listened to a couple of your shows and you guys are on fire. So great to be here.
We
appreciate that for sure.
And there's something that we say here at the show. You miss 100% of the shots that you never take.
That's right.
Especially, explaining everything that you just explained, that's the exact mentality that we have here, and then that's the exact mentality that we got to have throughout our lives. So we definitely appreciate you, and we thank you for telling us that story.
Yes, absolutely.
That means that we're on the right track, Finn.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, it's amazing to hear that, you started off with encyclopedias. I think the last time I touched one of those was I was in 6th grade because I had to for a class because I didn't have a phone. But, Rich, we're super grateful that you get to be with us. We've been back and forth. I know we're very busy in the season right now. It's fall, almost fall, I should say. And we're slowly wrapping up the summer. You just had an amazing event that took place that, you put out on social media for people to see what you're doing, which is amazing. You give back, and this is why today having you on this show and in the presence of God, this being here, we get to talk about passion. We get to talk about passion. You're passionate about people. That's very clear. You're passionate about God, which is super clear. And you're passionate about your family, your friends, and your purpose occupationally, as a father, as a leader in the church, outside of church. So today we really want to talk about our passion and our passions, since we all three have our own walk, but at the same time, there's a root that we all share. So it is super clear that being the best you is not just waking up and saying, hey, I'm going to brush my teeth and then, that's it. There's a lot more to it. And it's getting up, and what drives you, as Richard Norton, to go get up at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, as we've talked on the phone before, to get up in the morning, to do the routine that you have, and just live life to the best that you possibly can. So I'm going to hand this over to you or Adler, whoever wants to take the floor. Let's get rolling with this.
So my question to you is, in terms of passion, obviously we know what the definition of passion, but when it comes to you, what is your personal definition or mantra when it comes to passion?
Great question. I think it all starts with having the right foundation. For me, I have found, and I'm glad that you guys are guys of faith as well, because it all begins with the foundation that we have. And I've been in my life where when I went through difficult times and my foundation wasn't 100% in God, and I find when I try to do things on my own, I fall flat on my face. So it all begins with having that foundation, the passion for God. And you mentioned, Finn, earlier about worshiping, and worshiping not only in music, because it's fun to get up and it's wonderful to get up on stage, play guitar and worship with a group. But I believe that our lifestyle and everything that we do is our worship, the way that we live, the way that we act in front of other people, the way that we treat people. Every phase of my life, I want it to be worship filled with God. So when you speak about passion, I have a passion for the Lord. I have a passion for doing His will. And, when it all comes down to it, the bottom line is when we meet our Lord and Savior, when we meet God one day, is Jesus going to say to me, Rich, how'd you do in sales? Or how'd you do in business? I think He'll be proud of that. But the bottom line is what He'll say is, what did you do with me? How did you introduce other people to me? How did people get to know me through what you've done. And I always say that I might be the only Bible that people read, right? I might be the only Jesus that they ever meet. So it's important for me that I show them passion. You know, if you ever watch that movie, Passion of Christ, you know, you think about what Jesus did on the cross, you know, and I'm preaching right now, but because I love the Lord, you know, because that's part of my life. But you think about what he did on the cross, that's true love and that's true passion. So I have a passion and a love just for God, for Jesus, for my family. I have two daughters. I know you know my oldest daughter, Brianna. She's wonderful. She's got a great
She's the best.
passion. Yep. She's got great love for other people. She's a wonderful mom. I have another daughter that is going to UCF. I have a beautiful wife right behind me. You see that picture? That's my love and my passion, Lee. So it's just about understanding that every day is a gift. And when you get up in the morning, you just wake up on the right side of the bed, because so many people wake up on the wrong side of the bed. They say, oh, another day. Oh, God, another day. Or you can say, oh, God, thank you for another day. You know, when you're on your knees and you just say, every day is a gift. What am I going to do with this day? You know, every day that we have on this earth is a gift from God. Your gift to God is what you do with that day. So you mentioned how I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's what I do. And when I get up in the morning, it's like the first thing I want to do is just be filled with gratitude. You know, thank you for this day. Thank you for my family. Thank you for my wife. Thank you for health. Thank you for opportunity. And then I've learned the importance that as I've gotten older, and you guys will see this down the road, and I know you guys are in great shape right now, but as you get older, you understand that you have to be more healthier and live more healthier. And now I started a health regimen several years ago. And now this morning, prime example, I did 335 push-ups, 335 sit-ups, and I go for a 35-minute walk. I listen to motivational stuff, listen to you guys one morning, and then I play guitar in the morning and I sing worship songs. And then I send out group text to all of our salespeople, getting them motivated. I know some of them are still sleeping when I do that. And I send out motivational stuff to get everybody pumped up. And then I look in the mirror and I say, you're going to have an awesome day. Live with passion. You know, be passionate when you meet people. Be passionate about your livelihood. Be passionate with your family. You know, have passion in every phase of your life. And that's what it's all about, because if you don't, the opposite is not fun.
Well, you are truly the best you.
You know what's crazy? Like, and so, like, you know, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Rich does more with his, like before 7 o'clock than most Americans do. So, you know, and that just kind of like leads me into my definition of passion, right? So my definition of passion, which I loved your explanation, it's sensational, and I probably couldn't say it any better. But there's a guy that you know, he's always been kind of like, not a role model, but I've always just like, I watched him all throughout like my life, from, you know, his career with the Chicago Bulls to, you know, retiring and, you know, now working with Charlotte Hornets, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Yes. So there was a speech that, like, I think it must have been in like 2013, 2014, whenever he was inducted into Hall of Fame. There was something that he said that, like, it stuck with me. I must have been 24. I'm almost 30 now. So it stuck with me. It says, he said, when you're passionate or when you have love for something, you'll go to the extreme to maintain that love. Love drives you to do anything to maintain that connection with whatever it is. And that's something that just kind of like, it was like that third wall, like it just changed everything for me, because you know, at that point in my life, you know, I wasn't doing or living the best me. I wasn't being the best version of myself, and I wasn't optimizing the 24 hours I had in the day. I was just squandering time, you know, just really just not using my time wisely. And it kind of helped me hone in and focus for nursing school, which I'm sure Brianna's told you. nursing school has a way of just like psychologically just getting in your head.
Sure.
And like I would wake up at 3 in the morning, after having 3 hours of sleep. I would do 400 questions before sunrise, and I would read, go to clinicals, finish clinicals, go back home, drink a cup of coffee, study again before bed, take a 3 hour nap, and just keep on doing it. Like, and I remember like it was like at this point it's like a haze, I guess. Like it's just like how did I do that? But it just goes to remind you that like when you're passionate or when you love what you're doing, you're willing to go to whatever extreme. To most people, they might be like, wow, you're psychotic. I don't understand why you're doing that. But to you, it makes sense because it's something that it's there's a value in it. And you know that the work that you put in, eventually it's going to pay off. You know that it's not just all, it's not all in vain. There is a end goal and there's an end product.
Yeah.
And, that's to me, my definition of passion. And that's something I still hold dearly to my heart to this day. And that's like 6 years ago.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. I think what you just, I think that's awesome because it's all about the why. And as I heard you speaking there, I just see the big words, why are you doing this? What's the ultimate goal? And I talked with Brianna, like I talked with her the other day, she's working 40 hours a week and then she's doing the practicum, is that what you call it?
Practicum, yes.
Doing another 40 hours with that. And then she's driving back and forth, dropping my grandson off at school, going back and forth. And I know she's kind of burning the candle at both ends, but there's a reason why. And I said, keep looking at the big picture of what you're going to accomplish, and that's why it's important when you speak about passion that you have a why, because many people drift through life and they don't know what they want to accomplish. They're flying by the seat of their pants. And if you were to tell them, live with passion, I think their answer would be, for what? I'm just getting up in the morning, doing the same old boring routine, same old boring job, same old boring people. So it's hard to tell somebody to live with passion if they don't know what their goals are. So I always stress to everybody, set some goals. Where do you want to be a week from today? Where do you want to be a month from today? Where do you want to be 5 years from today, 10 years from today? And then not only that, make a plan. It's a very simple formula. Set your goal, plan your work your plan. And then if you know what you want out of life, it's a lot easier to wake up. And some people will say, set a goal that makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning. It's a great phrase right there. It's like, you can't wait to get up. Set a goal and you just can't wait to get up for, ready for the next day.
Absolutely. Well, so I love it. I'm just like, I'm listening to you guys and it actually motivates me to share this with you guys because it's something that Adler knows about. And obviously Brianna, they're two very, very impactful people in my life and have been for several years. And I'm very thankful to God to have been able to cross their paths. And I hope that our friendships last for a very long time. But I'm going to take a step back to a time real quick just to share with you and then also jump forward really quick back to where we are right now in this current moment to talk about passion. One of the things that I want to share with you, I am sometimes blown away by my own self because I never thought that I would ever be in healthcare. It was one of the last places I ever thought I would ever be. Like I didn't want to work around blood, didn't want to work around anything to do with healthcare because I felt like you said with the encyclopedias, how your family always said it's either you go with the naysayers or the yay sayers. Mm-hmm. And I kind of didn't want to go with I didn't want to be in healthcare. I didn't want to be in that field at all. Now, of course, I was in a different time, couldn't really make any decisions based off of that at a younger age. Just a few years ago, I went through school to become an EMT, all out of pocket. The hardest educational path that I ever took besides, this next step, which I'll share in a second. But I didn't pass the national registry the first time that I took for to become an EMT. I will say when I first took it, I failed by a long shot. Like I was like, I never really took an exam like that. It's very weird. It's timed. No, it's timed, but it's also like based off of your your skill knowledge. Basically, it gets harder when you do better, and it gets easier when you do worse to see if you can get back up and so forth. Well, between Brianna and John and Adler, there was a lot of push, a lot of like reminders and accountability. And they said, you know, Finn, this is who you are, man. You're passionate about people. You love people. And I'm like, I don't know. This isn't making any sense. I was very discouraged. And Adler, what he said with school, he said, no, I need you to do something right now. And I need you to go take 400 questions a night before you go to bed. You better do it. I want to make sure you do. And Brianna just constantly would remind me and say, hey, dude, you're going to do this. Stay focused. If you need help, I got you. Just stay focused. You're supposed to push through this. This is what you're going to do. Now, of course, I took it a couple more times and finally I got it. And enough reminders and enough accountability, enough support. It came to my senses that God wanted me to be there, because I prayed on my last time. And I didn't really pray the first couple times, which is, you know, a little different. But I prayed that last time. I said, if I pass this, God, then I'm going to go for it. If I don't pass this, God, then I know you have another purpose for me. But I'm passionate about people. And so when I passed that exam, the first two people that knew about it, well, besides my parents, obviously, were Brianna and Adler. And it was amazing because when I realized that I'm passionate about people, it made sense that I'm not going to be a pilot, that I'm not going to be going down that path, but I'm going to be in healthcare.
Yeah.
So long story short, going from EMT, this past year and a half or so working as an EMT and transporting, I found my passion to expand. It's expanding. So I start school this week, and it's the beginning of a journey that Adler took, your daughter Brianna took, and many other people out there who became nurses. This week marks the start of a new journey and another opportunity to thrive on passion, to be reminded what I'm passionate about, because I love people. See, one of the things that a lot of people always talk about is, oh, I love pizza. I love this kind of furniture. I love this. I know this is a random fact or a random thing here, but the point that I'm trying to make is you can't create an emotional connection with the physical chair or the physical genre of food that you enjoy. We say that typically, right? We tend to say that, but we don't really mean it in that, in the sense where we can make that connection. I love my job and I'm passionate about my job, which is what we're talking about today, because of the people, because you can love people. And so this next step to become an RN and whatever else is next that God has in store.
For those of you at home that don't know what RN stands for, it's registered nurse.
Registered nurse. Yes. This next step.
Or Rich Norton. Just kidding.
Yes.
This is true. This is true. I didn't even think
Ooh,
about
I like that. TM, trademark that one right there. Well, it is trademark because God put a trademark on your name. So, but Richard, I have a question for you. So everything I just said there with the, passion for work. So you are, like I said in the beginning, you're a regional sales manager. You're also a successful entrepreneur for Retriever Merchant Solutions, right? This is what you do. This is what you've been doing since the encyclopedias, going into this new phase of business for yourself that you've been thriving and succeeding at. You are passionate about your work. Now, I also mentioned you just had an entire event in St. Augustine on the beach. Beautiful. The Facebook posts are fantastic.
Thank you.
Why are you so passionate about your people? What is it you want your people to know when you're passionate about your job? Everybody can be passionate about their job, but what is it that pushes you and ignites you and amplifies you to be passionate about your people that work for you, work under you, with you? That's my question for you.
Great. Yeah, what a great question. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Zig Ziglar said you can have everything you want in life if you help other people get what they want in life. And one of the things that I do, I have a passion for all of our people. And I've talked about this with my wife a lot. And I say sometimes I want more success for people than they want for themselves. And I believe in people, and I know that there's greatness in everybody in some form or another. And I am so passionate about helping people achieve their full potential. And I believe in them. And so many people go through life, whether it be from their parents or whether it be in school, they were told that they weren't good enough. They weren't going to be successful. They didn't have someone that believed in them. And when they hear, you know what, you're a winner, man. God's got a great plan for you. You're designed for greatness. You're going to be successful. Believe in yourself. I believe in you. One of the things that I say to my daughter, I always tell my daughters I love them very much. But I always made an effort to tell them that I believe in you, and you'll notice that God's got a lot of self-confidence, and she's probably, even though she's kind of inward, she's very confident, and she's developed that, not just because of me, but, I like to think that I put that example in her. I believe in you, and I always say that all the time. I'm sending texts to them all the time. I believe in you. God's got a great plan. You're doing fantastic. I love you. You're awesome. You're amazing. So I have a passion for people to overall just to achieve great things. And I want to help them climb that level of success and go as far as they can go. And I believe that recognition is a big part of that. This year has been a very difficult year for so many, not only in our industry, but in every industry. I mean, it's a crazy year, and it seems like it's about to get even more crazier as we're in this election year. So there's been a lot of things going on, and people have some fear in their life. And this prime example is all the people that you saw that on the pictures there, they had all won a trip to the Bahamas through our company, and we were supposed to go in March. And then in March, we were told that's when the pandemic came in. We're not going to the Bahamas. We're going to go in June. So June came along. Oh, it's getting worse. We're not going to go in June. We're going to go in August. August comes around. Looks like we're ready to go. What happens a week before?
Yeah.
Nobody from the U.S. can go to the Bahamas. We're like, oh my gosh, we waited. That's it. And then the president of our company said, well, that's it. Looks like there's not going to be any trip this year. And when salespeople, when you're around a group, we like to meet because we like the recognition. We like to be around each other. We like the positive attitude, love the enthusiasm. So I put together last minute, I said, why don't we do this? Why don't we have everybody come down to St. Augustine, Florida? We'll stay at the beach. I got the hotel. We'll set up all the meetings. We'll do exactly what we were going to do in the Bahamas, but we'll do it here. Would you guys be up for that? They're like, let's do it. So they all came, and we had a great, fantastic 5 days, and I celebrated them, and I had each of them, I gave a little talk about each one of them, what they accomplished, how great they did, and the importance of being rewarded for that. And I know they felt good, and all of them left filled with gratitude, fired up. They were celebrating success, which propels them to go further. We're in another contest right now, which we're finishing up, which our winners will go to Cancun, Mexico in November. So hopefully we'll get to go. But
yes.
So it's great. So I believe in rewarding people, and I never want anybody to feel like they're a lone ranger trying to figure this out. I want them to know that we're behind them. Within my organization, I do a lot what you guys are doing. We do videos, we do shows, training videos. I want to have everything available for people to become successful. And we say, here, it's all up. We're giving you the opportunity. We're putting you in business for yourself, but not by yourself. We're giving you everything you need to become successful. But the bottom line is, all of this works if you work.
And that's exactly when we first started. Like when I listen to you talk, Rich, I literally hear us when we were first starting this podcast. So we sat down and we wrote down what we wanted to do, why we wanted to do this, and what our goal was with this podcast. And it's exactly everything you're saying. We believe in people, and we want to give people the opportunity to grow. Like, this is what we do here. This is what our goal, some people listen to our podcast and it goes like this, and that's okay. It's good. It's maybe our voices are nice to listen. It's nice to listen to Adler's voice, or to stare at, our big muscles or whatever, I don't know, but our goal isn't here to show off. Our goal is to, like you said, propel people forward and give them what is necessary from our personal walks of life. To be passionate, to grow, to develop, and to optimize the 24 hours we have in a day, which you do.
And you guys are great examples. You're setting the tone, you're setting the example, and people say, man, these guys, when you speak about passion, I see that you guys are passionate about what you're doing. You're passionate about people. you're persistent, you're consistent, you're doing what it takes to become successful. So God's got a great plan for both of you guys. I'm excited to
Thank
see.
you.
I'm looking forward to meeting you in person, and we can go out
Absolutely.
to dinner and celebrate the success.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate that.
Yes.
And I guess like, all right, so this is gonna be, I gotta formulate it a little bit, right? So when we
We
talk
shook you off your feet a little bit. You're a little startled.
so when we talk about passion, right? So I do this thing when I'm passionate about whatever it is. It's like I call it just reckless abandon. I don't care, what negativity I hear, just in and out, and I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. But it wasn't always there, right? There before, and this is just like through endless amounts of like experience, like, and I know that I'm not as experienced as you are, but there comes a point in time where in the very beginning or the very first parts or steps of trying to accomplish success, you start to get like this self-doubt. You start to it starts to creep in. And, for me, I know for me, like, kind of like what you did with Brianna, my dad, he was always telling me how successful I can be as long as I apply myself, how smart I can be as long as I continue to learn, and how like I have endless amounts of potential, but potential means nothing unless you're putting work behind it.
Right.
And I guess my question to you is, you went from being a salesman, of encyclopedias, which might I add, when I was a kid, I was born in 1990, we purchased encyclopedias,
Right.
probably from your company, I'm sure. And I have and still to this day, 30 years later, we still have I have a collection of encyclopedias at my parents' house.
Right.
But my question to you is, how do you push out that noise and push out that self-doubt, and you just remain like utterly focused?
Yeah, you guys got some great questions. Awesome.
It's actually a two-part question because there's a follow back.
Good. Yeah. What you have to do is because there are going to be naysayers along the way. So you look at that. And I've always said this, that people that aren't in life where you want to be cannot show you how to get there. Because if they knew, they would be doing it. And if you notice, the people that give all the advice, nothing against them, but a lot of them, there's some jealousy factor. They might see someone rising up and becoming successful. It's like, wait a second, you're supposed to be back here with me. And unfortunately, that happens a lot. So, when negative, and it's so amazing because I tell everybody in our industry that this is all about mindset. I can train people so much about sales. I can teach them presentation, but the mind will play such an amazing trick on you. You can drive out to an area and get ready to go out and sell, and all of a sudden you hear, man, there's a COVID going on out here. What do you do? The mind starts, there's stinking thinking that starts happening.
Yeah.
And there's excuse-itis or hardening of the attitude, and all of a sudden it starts creeping in, right? And you can say, okay, I'm either going to listen to that or I'm going to zap that out. Immediately when that negativity creeps in, it's time to get rid of that. And I tell everybody that there's going to be a crossroads in no matter what level that we're at, what you guys are doing, what I've been doing, even down in the future, there'll be a crossroads where we'll say, okay, I'm either going to give up and go the wrong way, or I'm going to say, I'm marching on. Because like I said earlier, there's going to be some tough times. There's going to be difficult times. There's going to be challenges. And where people don't realize it, when those come, where many people just give up and quit, they are so close to breaking the barriers and moving into that next level of success. And that's the reality. Most people give up when they're so close to achieving great success. So the reality is, no matter what, there is no plan B. Where people say, I'm going to give this a try. When people say that, I'm just going to give it the old college try. Well, if you do that, you're not going to make it. I tell everybody right up front, you're not going to make it, because here's what happens. When you say, I'm going to give it a try, you're basically saying, when things go bad, well, at least I gave it the old college try. But when you say, you know what, I'm going to be persistent, I will persist until I succeed. Nothing's going to stop me. I know there's going to be challenges. I know there's going to be difficulties. I know things will get in my way. I know people will get in my way, but I'm not giving up. I will never, ever, 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 without a shadow of a doubt, I'm never quitting, no matter what.
And this is like confirmation right here for this next step of the journey that I was talking about, because I've been hearing a lot of people say, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, I believe it. I believe that nursing school is hard. It's very difficult. It's mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically demanding. And I can see it in Brianna, between, like you said earlier, between nurse practicing school, between working on an ICU, raising her son, and everything else that she has to jumble between those, all of that. And Adler, Adler's not going to tell you right now, but he's in school too. Not going to announce for what, but he's in school too. He's pursuing.
I have a second part of the question, but go ahead.
But just real quick, the thing is, it is motivating, and it's like when we prayed before we started this, there's a message that I'm even getting through this. And as a host on a show, I still humble myself. I don't let the host tag or whatever, your name tag, whatever you want to call it. I'm still learning. I've learned so much listening to you and Adler and Brianna. Like, people are constantly confirming, and that's just something I want to share. It was a side note that you're confirming something, to not give up because it's going to be hard, and to be persistent and to be consistent. I don't know if I can get up at 3:30 like you, but I can definitely do everything else or get there.
Because growing is all part of what we do, because no matter what level that I achieve, I haven't arrived. I'm still learning. I'm learning things from you guys, and I'll learn things from all people, because once we stop growing, we start shrinking. So if we ever think that we've arrived, we've got some pride issues going on. That's a whole nother story.
Once you stop growing, you start shrinking. I like that. So my other question is, obviously, like, there's that, you basically describe having that fortitude, that mental toughness, that fortitude, that unrelenting, unending, undying will, and just moving forward regardless of what the situation, regardless of how bad the circumstances are, just keep moving forward. And that right there, I can not only feel, but I can also hear your passion.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, you're passionate about your work, you're passionate about God, but how do you translate that, just from man to man, how do you translate passion for success in your career, and that passion for love of God, to passion to raising a family, passion to raising two beautiful daughters, and successful daughters, I might add, and having a successful marriage for, I'm not sure how long you've been married, but I'm guessing, with Brianna's age and everything, you've been together for quite some time.
Well, that's another story. I don't mind sharing with you. And these are great questions. And this is all part of, we all go through difficulties in life. And I've had some tragedies, unfortunately, in my life, and had some tough moments in my life as well, as we all do, some worse than others. But I think we learn from failure. I've been through a divorce, Brianna's mom, and when I'm friends with her, we're still, in good standing there. So, but everything works out fine, but there are difficult times that we go through. And it's so important that we have a proper balance in our life. And I'm passionate about that as well, because if I'm just successful in my career and everything in my world falls apart, what good is that? You know what I mean? So it's so important that I have a proper balance. And I'll share with you that when I was in the encyclopedia business, that I was off balance. It was 7 days a week. That was my God. That was my family. That was everything, and we were taught that, you got to put 100% into this. You got to work hard. You got to do, and everything else was out of whack. And then when that happens, things start to fall apart. So when I say I want to be number one, I want to be number one in my career, but I also want to be number one as a dad. I want my children to say, when I leave this earth, my dad was number one and I was number one, right? My wife, you know, we've been married almost 17 years now. And, you know, I you know, it doesn't mean we have a perfect marriage. We go through trials and everything, but we have a great relationship. And I've learned that I have to keep taking her out on dates. You know, I have to keep that passion going, because sometimes people get married and it's like, you know, they stop pursuing their other significant other and they take them for granted, you know. So we have to understand that, you know, we have to keep that passion in the relationship. You know, go out on a hot date with your wife if you're married. You know, take her out. If you got the money, take her out. You know, it doesn't always have to be about money. Take her to the beach and do something romantic and make it all, like I tell all of our guys, you know, because sometimes, and you guys can relate to this as business people and as salespeople, we're excited about our business and we go home and tell our wife about it or our significant other, and then we don't let them talk at all. And they're thinking, wait, what about me? You don't care about me. And I'm thinking, whoa, you know. So I had a talk with one of our sales guys the other day. He goes, man, my relationship's not going that well. And I said, I know what you're doing. You're just going home and you're just bragging about your job, bragging about everything, what you did. And then you're not listening to her. Am I right? He goes, how'd you know? Did she call you? And so I said, here's what you do. And this is what I've learned. Not that I have all the answers, but go home. Don't talk about your job. Don't talk about anything else, and just focus on her and just say, how was your day? And just listen. You know, how was your day? Man, that's great. And sometimes as guys, we try to give advice and we try to give counsel, but I've learned that too. Sometimes we just got to shut up, right? Keep our mouth shut, right? And just, and I've had, those have been some of the best talks that I've had with my wife, where I just didn't say anything. And she goes, man, thank you so much. What a great conversation. And I'm on my mind, I'm thinking, I didn't even say anything. Well, I guess that was what I was supposed to do. So you have to focus on them and just make, you know, they're the highlight of your day, and make it all about them. You know, take your significant other out to dinner and just say, man, I want to hear about you, and let them talk. And that's building passion back up. And, you know, learn what your wife or significant other's love language it is, you know, and make that, you know, pursue that and go and make the best out of that. And listen to your children, you know, and, you know, we all make mistakes, but if we're available and we're there, that's the key. And when you speak about love, I have learned that love is a choice.
Ooh, we talked about that last week.
Yeah. Love is a choice. You know, there's some days where my wife doesn't like me, right? She might hate me that day, but she chooses to love me. And it might be vice versa. There's some days where my wife might tick me off, but I choose to love her. And love is an action as well. You know, love is.
We talked about that too. Wow.
We're on the same page. Yeah. So I finally knew it when I was your age. I think they're off. But yeah, it really is. And we just make a choice. We show love to others by the way we treat them. And it could be just a stranger too. When you're meeting people, I mean, if you think about it now, my goodness, there's so much division in this world. You know, if you don't think the way I do, then I don't like you. And it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. But if we just treat people with love and we treat them with respect, no matter where they came from, no matter who they are, and just love one another and be kind and treat them the way you want to be treated. And man, this world would be a lot better off, you know, because sometimes people think, oh, look at me, I make all this money and I'm better than you. I've seen this where people treat servers in restaurants, you know, they look down upon them. But if you can just treat them with respect and love and tip good and take good care of them and let them know how much you appreciate them, you know, you can make their day brighter, and because you never know what people are going through.
I thank you so much. And like, I guess the reason why I asked it, so I get this tunnel vision sometimes when I'm focused on something, right? And when I was in nursing school, I had developed a lot of unhealthy eating habits. So yeah, I was putting a lot of like time in studying and doing the 400 questions and everything. But I also jumped up to about like 218, 220 pounds. And my frame is not that high, tall. I'm only 5'8". So it was just kind of like, oh, okay. And I kind of had like this epiphany in 2016 that we all are blessed with the same amount of time.
That's right.
24 hours in a day. And the question is, what are you doing with your time? Now, you make time for whatever is important.
Yes.
And, a lot of Americans, a lot of people, we make time to watch Dancing with the Stars, The Bachelor, or, America's Got Talent, whatever it is. We make time for that. But we don't make time to, make ourselves or put ourselves in better positions to be successful sometimes. And, when you develop that that mindset, as you said, you can be perceived as crazy, as nuts, as cuckoo, as whatever the case may be, but you do it because, even though somebody else doesn't understand, you have a vision and a sight of like where you want to be and who you want to be. And you attack it with reckless abandon and just a huge amount of like fortitude. And so like, as Finn was discussing earlier, I decided to get into NP school, and I just finished my first semester. I will say, hearing him talk about Brianna and Brianna's like, drive to actually get an NP school kind of gave me a little bit of motivation to push to get into it. Because, at first I was like, well, I don't know, should I? I'm not sure. And, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go after it. And, like just kind of just thinking about, sometimes it gets overwhelming, having to write, papers and doing homework again. I haven't done homework in like a year. Plus I work 40 hours a week at one job, and I work, 20 hours at another job. And, I try to physically stay active as well, 4 to 5 times a week. So sometimes it just seems like it's like endless rotation. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm passionate about it. The first thing that I've ever wanted to do is to help people, yes. Which is why I still stick with the podcast with Finn. And, a lot of times I feel like Finn does a lot of the heavy lifting, and then sometimes he'll verbalize and be like, yo, you're doing all the heavy lifting. I'm like, nah, I mean, like, I feel like we're just both working and we're just pulling in the same direction, and it can be perceived as, oh man, I think I need to, like, I guess I get motivated by seeing him work. I'm like, all right, I got to step up my game. I got to continue like pushing and moving this way because he's doing it. And it's just really nice to have you on the show, just to kind of confirm like a lot of the thoughts and ideas and that we have, that we've discussed previously, and that we will probably continue to discuss. You're touching and you're hitting on them right now. And
like literally on every single point. I mean, it's incredible, and when there was a right time. I feel like, today was a perfect time to do it. This was definitely an extended play, and we're very excited that we were able to extend our time with you. And I will be honest with you, I did a lot of listening today. Usually I make a lot of points, but I think actually at the same time, as much as we've, how amazing this conversation was, and like you just confirming, like Adler says, you've confirmed a lot of things that I had on my mind personally. And that's speaking, we're not perfect. And Adler and I always say that we're not coaches. We're not licensed. We're not, we don't have degrees to be psychologists or psychiatric, professionals, but we just genuinely come from life, and we run into people, and we have people on the show that we see as successes, as people who are living in that lifestyle. Because that's what we talk about. Being the best you is not something like, you don't wake up, you brush your teeth because it's part of hygiene. But living to the best version of who you are is like is like brushing your teeth. If you stop brushing your teeth are not going to look too good. Right. And if you're not living every day just like brushing those teeth, you're gonna stink. Not to be cliche, but
I love the analogy.
That was a real. But as we wrap up this, brush your teeth. That's the bottom. Brush your teeth.
No Colgate. We use Crest here. All right.
Pretty white. But as we wrap up things, as we slowly but surely wrap up this episode, Rich, we're just so grateful. I'm gonna be honest. I'm very grateful. Like I said, if I was writing notes, I would have a book by the end of this episode, because there's so much that you've confirmed, so many things that you've said and shared from your own personal walk that has so much value and so much love, because I learned from you today. I mean, I learn all the time, but I really felt like today, having this time here, it's not just for us, but really, you know, for you, it's amazing for you to be able to share the things that you've done, because like you've said, you're passionate about people. So thank you so much for being with us today. Like, it's been absolutely amazing just to share time with you and taking time out of your day to do this.
And if in the future you have more time, we'll probably get you back on, because
Oh, for sure.
there's so many things we'd like to discuss, but we're running out of time. So,
Yes.
you know, we definitely
Maybe get your daughter and try to get Brianna, or even if your daughter Kaylee on here, that'd be cool. We're always inviting people to be on here, and you know, there's be an opportunity to just continue to share that love, continue to share that passion, and we appreciate it.
All right.
A lot.
Thank you, guys. I wish you great success. Look forward to being on the show again, and looking forward to
Meeting you in person.
Yeah, appreciate it. Finn, please tell the people, how can they reach out and stay in touch with us, and what social media platforms?
So we are on Instagram,
Yes.
Facebook, as The Best U Nation. Very easy.
Very simple.
And
What's the
we're
channel?
what's that?
What's
We
the
have a YouTube channel. Yeah, we have a YouTube channel. Also, The Best U Nation.
Yes.
Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and the whole 9 yards. Any platform out there that can hold a podcast is going to be The Best U Nation. So,
at any point in time, if you just want to get just a daily dose, or I apologize, a weekly dose of positivity, you have your boys Finn and Adler here, and we're always willing and ready to, talk. And you can always reach out to us on our Instagram or Facebook or whatever the case may be. One of us will answer.
absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Richard, for being with us today. We do look forward to meeting you in person, and definitely for another opportunity to have you on the show with us.
Okay. My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
You
All
too.
right, God bless, guys.